Hi everyone, this is Diane. I have a surprise for you. I completed 2 more of my UFO unfinished unfinished objects, in the last few days, and you didn't even know I was working on it. I've been so busy really focusing on destashing and rearranging. We'll talk about that again in another video. But I just kind of worked on these in between, and I kept them very, very simple. So it didn't take me too long to complete them. The covers were already done. And I just want to point out that these covers were made from these books, Weekly Reader, Just Ask books, and I have a set of 2 of these books left in my shop. They are the complete books, so I can ship them with the media mail rate in the US. So these were pretty popular when I put them in the shop before, but I have a set of 2 left. In case you're interested in making these tall, slim journals. They're not the same as when somebody prints digital, or some people are making digitals now that are designed for making the tall, slim journals, and that's just folding the paper in half. This is not the same size. This is 4.5 by 9.25, not quite 9.25. So these have a botanical or floral theme, so we'll just get right into it. I covered them with scrapbook paper, and then I had cut the floral images out of a botanical book about flowers, and this is a label that I stamped onto a thin piece of paper. So you can kind of see this design through it. It's got fabric on the spine. I should tell you about the goodies that are coming with it in just a second. And some lace. And then I used this black elastic. I just tied it in a bow and slipped it over it. It's not glued or anything. You can untie that if you need to adjust the knot. So before I open the book, let me talk about the goodies that come with the books. I didn't do a lot of decorating. I included some pockets and envelopes, and I did, a little bit. I did some stamping. So they're not completely plain, but I didn't spend a lot of time embellishing. So I wanted to include some things that you could use to decorate. This came from, I don't know what book it was. I've had these cut out for a long, long time. There's images on front and back. My idea was to make a booklet out of them. So that's something you could do. So each journal comes with 3 of those pieces, and a couple pieces from this Wildflower, what is it? It's very old, Wildflowers of America book. And inside this bag are some Graphic 45 pieces that were left over from a long time ago. I've had them in my stash. That came out of a book. This is a die cut vellum piece. That's a stamped piece. And some postage stamps that feature flowers. A stamped pansy. Stamped sunflowers, and this is an ephemera piece. And I added in some of the seed packet. I was trying to think. It seems like there shouldn't be 4 in here. I'll have to see how many are in the other pack, but maybe there were 4 in each. Let me check. But anyway, these are just copies of seed packets, vintage French seed packet labels. And then some die cuts. Some of them were stamped die cuts, and the rest are just die cuts. So fun things that you can use to decorate your pages. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but yeah, 2 of these labels go in here. Oh wait, they're in there. Let me see. Okay, there's 2. I think each one was supposed to get 3. There we go. Now it's fixed. All right, now we can go through the journal. Got paper on the inside, more fabric here. There's Tyvek underneath there, and I created the spine with chipboard. This is a 1.5 inch spine. There are 3 signatures. And this is a little metal piece that had a little foam sticker thing on the back. I pulled the foam off so it wouldn't be so dimensional and just glued it there. Got some ferns. I put a pocket just like this on the front of each signature. It's just a scrap of cardstock paper and a little scrap of paper. This is a lined yellow paper, and I had scraps of this and graph paper on my table, so I just used them to decorate. This is cut from that book, and then I just had some digital numbers that I added, and I tucked a plain tag in there, and you can use some of those embellishments that I included if you'd like to decorate that. I added some lace to the front of each signature, and that is the only sewing I did in the books. I did some stenciling, and I used some of these, and these are from Tailor Made Journals Etsy store, and she has several sets, botanical, wildflower, but these are, I guess they're supposed to be cards, but they were printed to a page, so I just trimmed them down and used them as a page, but then I also cut them and used them in other ways. So you get 20 pages. That's a lot. There's a dyed page with a stamp. Lined paper. So my intention for this is for you to be able to use it for journaling. So there's a lot of journaling space, and also maybe you want to record your gardening or plan your gardening, and I kept it pretty plain, nothing sticking out of it, no fancy closure, so that you could carry it around with you if you wanted to. This is a handmade type of paper, textured. It came out of a little journal, and so that's what the holes are where they were sewn into the book. Here's one of the Tailor Made journals. I think I'm going to just trim that edge off because it's close to the center, and I don't want it to get crinkled up. And then this is just a note page. You can journal on that. And I was thinking of, trimming it down and gluing it here, but since I'm leaving it for you to do what you want with it, I just clipped it in there so you can do with these things what you want. You can glue this down somewhere, you can move this. I was thinking this might be nice sewn right there, and you can journal on this side. Whatever, and make a pocket out of it. Whatever you want to do with it. Last night when I went to bed, I thought these journals were complete, and then this morning I decided to print a couple pages of the Mrs. Coggs Wildflowers of the British Isles cards, and because she had gifted them to me a long time ago and I never used them, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity. So there's one of the little miniature pieces. I just clipped it onto the back of that paper clip that was already there. Here's another page from the Lorna Taylor digitals. This is wrapping paper and a lined paper with beautiful flowers there. This is from a vintage botanical book. More lined paper, and I included one of these fold-a-note cards in the center of each signature. It's got daisies and other wildflowers. So pretty. I love that. I had a whole bunch of these, thank goodness. Still have some. So basically it's pretty plain. I did include a different type of envelope in each signature, and this one I did a really quick collage. Got a piece of an antique ledger there, and this was cut out of a book. And this is actually one of the Anna Griffin pieces. For some reason, when I kind of moved those things out of the way. They're set aside safely. I haven't actually put them away yet, but these little banner pieces got left on my table, and I thought, well, they were perfect for this journal. And inside this packet, it's one of those date planted, so it's perfect. It's like keeping a record of your seeds and where they were, when they were planted and when they were harvested and whatnot. There's a page from the field guide book and another of the Mrs. Coggs cards tucked in there. And this is just clipped on. These pages are so narrow that I couldn't make a pocket to tuck the envelopes in. And I use one of the landscape little cards from Mrs. Coggs to make tiny little pockets, and I put a little tag in there. There's a stamp there. And I had this little note paper with a very tiny grid pattern and these wildflowers at the bottom. And I put it on cardstock, made it a pocket, and I just tucked in another page from the field guide. Here's the second signature. This one has the graph paper decoration on it. This one needs an embellishment on it. It got, when I was stamping these things, this got smeared on there somehow. So I'm going to find an embellishment to glue on there. I'm sorry, I was going to do that before I started the video. This is one of the handmade papers that has petals included in it. There's a little label stamp. Vintage graph paper. This is the same post-a note, fold-a note, but I forgot to point out that I glued little punched out flower shapes onto the ends of the strings. And here's the envelope in this signature. It's a little window envelope shaped like a coin ticket, a coin envelope. I said ticket because it says ticket right there. So this says date, ticket number, name, amount, number of pieces, description, and signature. Don't really know what these were used for, but I love the window. And I put a, oh, I can't get it out. There. It is a alterations tag that I trimmed down to fit, and I stamped this background stamp on the back and added another image from the field guide book. It's another little Mrs. Coggs pocket with the buttercups and a green merchandise tag. And on the last signature, this came from, this came from that, like a scrapbook thing that I had that was really old, that was for saving specimens. Had an introductory page, and this was part of that, but it was these kind of pages. Somebody saved specimens, and these were moldy or they came off, or for some reason I don't have these specimens, because this was full of specimens and I sold the sheets with the specimens on them. So anyway, that's what this is from. I only had one, so there isn't one in the other journal. This is a different fold-a note with daisies and clover. So these envelopes are what my French labels came in. So there was a label sticking right here, just, you know, like a typed up label to say what was in there. So I covered it with one of the copies that I made of those labels. Included a Mrs. Coggs image and field guide page. I'm sorry, I don't mean to fight with it so much, but this is going to be a quick flip through. So I'm not wasting too much of your time, I hope. And another adorable little Mrs. Coggs piece and a tiny little dyed tag. And on the back, I had these little craft paper library pockets. I think someone sent them to me. They're thin, but I thought it went well. And I had this little digital stamp that I put on there. That's from Eclectic Eggplant. And this is just a Project Life card with a tab and my signature. So pretty simple. And then you can just add this to it because it was only 1.5 inch spine, so it is kind of thick, and if you add things to it, it'll thicken up. So I thought you might appreciate having an elastic, but a pretty one to put around it. It was made for making hair decorations or something, or jewelry. I don't see them anymore. I was buying them for a while, and then I forgot I had them, but I'm running low on a selection. So this will come with this pack of digitals, or not digitals, ephemera you can use. And this one has a champagne colored tie. This is an embossed piece of cardstock and another cutout from a flower book, a stamped label, same paper on the back. Same fabric on the spine. It's a different background paper. It does have a little bit of a pattern on it. And I had 2 of these little metal pieces, so that was it worked out very well. I think there's only the one card in there. Yep. I will be doing a video harvesting a couple of the old Martha Stewart Living magazines that I was given, because many of you said that yes, you would like to see that. Oh, this is the other. I did have another page from that botanical scrapbook. This one has a list where you can write a contents of your specimens that you kept. I forgot I had 2 pages. I use different types of lined paper and writing space paper. This is where she started her list of specimens that she had. Sorry. Oh, thought I was going to sneeze again. This book had glue further onto the page than it should have, so it affected some of the pages. I put, where are we? I put one of these pages in this pocket in the other journal, so I wanted to make sure I did that here. Oh, these go in there too. And the last signature. That's a gift wrap. And again, this is a cutout from a book. This is scrap from a vintage magazine, and it's an advertisement for a book called Botany. And there's a Mrs. Coggs card in there. This is folded up. You could tuck something in there. So there we go, 2 floral books. They're not specifically wildflower, although there are a lot of wildflowers, but there are also cultivated garden flowers featured. So it's just a flower journal. And I think they turned out pretty nice and give you lots of writing space, lots of space to just write about your life or write about your garden. I hope that you enjoyed these, and it was kind of fun to have a surprise to pop at ya. So when this video goes up, these journals are already in the shop. And I hope that you will follow the link below to go find them, and I will leave a link for Mrs. Coggs and Tailor-Made Journals. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. I think the next journal will be strawberries. See you soon. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.